Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Norm's Friends. I'm David B., the readings guy. Biffid at yahoo.com. 603-404-9338. And lucky you today, while you're getting your turkey and whatever else it is you need to get ready for tomorrow, we have the most famous artist going. All these young artists aspire to be him, well-known, famous. You see his work all over town. Tell them who you are.
Anthony Williams. I'm an artist here in Manchester, New Hampshire. And wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. And don't be too gloomy about the weather.
I know. With the I looked out the window last night before I was on my way to bed, and it's snowing out.
Yeah.
I says, wow, but it didn't snow in Salem. Imagine, that's what they told me. So, shall we get going, you think, with the usual, the inspirational quote and the fun facts?
Sure.
What do you think the fun facts are about today?
I have no idea. You'll let us know.
I will. All right. So, you're here, so I can do. I select that thing, the hoodie. What kind of material is it?
I don't know, but it's warm.
Is it?
Yeah.
So it can be a pop quiz too. There's a lot of them because, well, I'll say it up front. It's the interesting fun facts are about Thanksgiving.
Oh, there we
Because
go.
we're celebrating that.
A little
tomorrow.
history, right?
Yeah, and some funny little tidbits that probably people didn't know, because some of them I didn't know till I was reading them. All right, anyway, let's start with the inspirational quote, which I saw it this morning and it just, jumped out right at me. I am enough of an artist to draw freely upon my imagination. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think said that?
Albert Einstein.
How did you know? Did you know it? You're pretty clever, Anthony. I'm telling you. Wow. All right, you got a gold star. Right? Did you get those when you went to school?
I don't remember. It's been so long.
I remember this. I forget what grade it was, but this teacher, if you got 100 on your test, you got a gold star. She put it right in your forehead. And I think if you got like a 90, then you got a red star, and then lower was like a green star. She had all different colors. But it was funny. I used to like to get 90s because the red star was my favorite. I like the red, imagine. All right, so seeing as tomorrow is Thanksgiving, and by the way, everybody welcome, relax, put the timer on the food that you're making, take a breath of fresh air now, get in your most comfortable shoes, slippers, whatever. It's another day for not only pajamas, but a robe on because it's a little bit raw out there. So anyway, the interesting fun facts today are about Thanksgiving, and seeing as it's Thanksgiving, I am one that think it's one of the best holidays, only because it's celebrating, how fortunate we are to be living in America. Don't ever forget it, and don't let people tell you otherwise. If they do, they're cuckoo. All right. Interesting fun facts. Interesting fun fact number one. This is going to be a pop quiz all the way through, Anthony. Americans eat how many millions of pounds of turkey every Thanksgiving?
No idea.
Poor things. 704 million.
Wow.
Imagine pounds of turkey. Isn't that something?
Poor turkeys.
I know. All right. Interesting fun fact number two. Female turkeys don't what? You give up?
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready? I never knew this. Female turkeys don't gobble.
Oh,
See? So every time you hear a gobble now, and I know you know it's a male turkey. All right. I knew this one from when I was a kid, naturally. The first Thanksgiving celebration, I didn't know this though, lasted 3 days, which was celebrated in October 1621 in,
I'm going to say Rhode Island.
what? Rhode Island?
Yeah.
Why does Rhode Island come? I'm just curious. Why does Rhode Island come to mind?
It just did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have my glasses on.
Oh, Plymouth, Massachusetts.
Oh.
You know, Plymouth, America's hometown. That's why they say it, because that was the first Thanksgiving was in Plymouth. You didn't know that?
No.
And they have Plymouth Plantation down there that you can go and visit that. But I guess maybe, you know, from growing up down there, and of course I liked all local trivia stuff. All right. I thought this one's kind of interesting, Anthony. Listen to this, and everyone else out there. Interesting fun fact number 4. The woman who got Thanksgiving reinstated as a national holiday also wrote, are you ready? Mary Had a Little Lamb. Sarah Hale spent 4 decades campaigning for a national day of thanks because the holiday was only celebrated in the Northeast. I didn't know that.
Huh.
After a while, I guess, because one of them contradicts that. Anyway, in 1863, she finally persuaded then President who?
Lincoln.
Yup, to reinstate the holiday nationwide. See, he was a great American.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Interesting fun fact number 5. Pardoned turkeys live great lives. Once these birds get their pardon, they are typically brought to the Frying Pan Farm Park in Fairfax County, Virginia, to live out the rest of their long, happy lives. Right? And this is interesting. Get this one. The Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade balloons used to just be let go after the show. Imagine seeing the big blobby things. And some of them were big.
Yeah.
All right? And before 1997, there were no size regulations on Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade balloons. Imagine. All right. All right. This one I find kind of bizarre. I'm not so sure if it's true, but I read it, so it must be true, right? More people travel to where than anywhere else on Thanksgiving?
I'll take a guess and just say California.
Orlando, Florida. Imagine where they all go to Disney World
I know.
for Thanksgiving. I don't know why else you would go there. It's kind of scary. You ever been there?
Yeah, I lived there for a year.
Orlando?
Tampa.
But this is Orlando.
Yeah, but
That's-
it's still Florida.
Well, I know. But I meant if you lived in Orlando, it's kind of
Yeah,
it's sketchy.
worked there, but I didn't live there.
I remember going down there being at red lights and going through them because I was so scared of the gangs on the corner. And I didn't fit in, if you know what I mean. All right, there's another interesting little tidbit. Get this. That was interesting fun fact number 8. This was interesting fun fact number 9. This is kind of interesting, Anthony. The original TV dinner was the result of a Thanksgiving miscalculation in 1953. The year I was born. An executive at Swanson miscalculated the company's upcoming Thanksgiving turkey sales, leaving the company with some 260,000 tons. I'm sorry, whoop, take it back. With some 260 tons of frozen fowl following the holiday. Fortunately for Swanson, a salesman by the name of Jerry Thomas suggested packaging the excess product into trays, along with some traditional sides, and selling them to consumers as TV dinners. Thomas was apparently inspired by the pre-portioned trays used to serve airplane food. That's kind of neat, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Interesting fun fact number 10. More than blank of Americans prefer Thanksgiving leftovers to the meal. I find this kind of hard to believe.
49%.
Are you ready? 80%.
Oh, 80%?
4/5. More than 4/5 of Americans prefer Thanksgiving leftovers to, not me. I like them both.
Yeah.
The first national Thanksgiving was declared by, take a guess. Has to be an American,
Yeah.
obviously. The first national Thanksgiving was declared by George Washington and was celebrated on November 26th. What year do you think?
I have no idea.
1789. Okay, see if you know this one. This is I like all these little trivial things here. Which state raises the most turkeys in the U.S.?
Iowa.
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
All right, we got a little over half a page left. All right, interesting. That was interesting. Fun fact number 12. Here's fun fact number 13. The first Thanksgiving football game predates the National Football League. According to the Princeton website, can we believe Princeton?
I don't know.
Right? According to the Princeton website, on Thanksgiving in 1876, Princeton and Yale students squared off on Hoboken, New Jersey. So we know we'll put Hoboken on the map. Playing what would best be described as an 11-on-11 form of rugby. The school's showdown became an annual one, eventually moving to New York, where how many fans showed up in 1893? How many fans do you think?
I don't know.
40,000. Imagine
Wow.
in 1893. Fun fact number 14. This is pretty cool, too. The tradition of cracking the wishbone is an ancient one. For some, Thanksgiving dinner isn't complete until the bird's wishbone is snapped, bestowing luck on the bearer of the bigger piece. Did you used to do that growing up?
Yeah, when we were little.
Right, we always did too, I know. And it was always who grabbed the most of it. It was always the older one because whoever had the biggest hands always won, right? Because they'd grab more of it. All right, would you believe that this custom is thousands of years older than the holiday? Wishing on birds' bones traces back to the ancient, what's that? Etruscans? E-T-R-U-S-C-A-N, Etruscans? Etruscans?
Yeah.
All right, Etruscans, who used chickens to help them predict the future. After the chickens died, the Etruscans would dry their wishbones or furcula in the sun and keep them as good luck charms. Imagine. All right, you'll know this one. Thanksgiving is America's second favorite holiday behind...
Christmas.
Yes. All right, and fun fact number 16. I didn't know this either till I read this stuff. Thanksgiving is the most popular day in the U.S. for racing. Turkey trots have become as synonymous with Thanksgiving as the turkey itself. In fact, more than 1 million people participate in upwards of 1,300 races in the United States annually, making Thanksgiving the largest race of the entire year. And, all right, fun fact number 17. I don't know who this is, but it's just a bit of trivia. Sonic the Hedgehog was the first video game character to appear in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in 1993. Debuted as a 6-story tall helium balloon. That's pretty big, right? However, as the balloon was approaching Broadway, the wind caused it to collide with a corner lamppost. The impact tore the balloon open, causing debris to fall onto the crowd. Imagine. I have a funny story of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade after this. All right. 18. Fun fact number 18. All right. The largest pumpkin pie on record weighed, how much do you think?
I'll say 50 pounds.
3,699 pounds.
10 and a half.
Yeah, imagine in 2010, the world's largest pumpkin pie was made by the New Bremen Giant Pumpkin Growers and displayed at the New Bremen Pumpkin Fest in New Bremen, Ohio. Get this. In total, the pie measured 20 feet in diameter and imagine, I wonder how deep it was.
Yeah.
And finally, fun fact number 19. All right, see if you get this. The day, I think this one's, it's humorous. The day after Thanksgiving is the busiest day of the year for what trade?
Cooks. I don't know.
No. The day after Thanksgiving is the busiest day of the year for plumbers. Pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty funny. Have you ever been to the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade?
No.
I went twice, but
Yeah.
the first time I went, it was probably early to mid 80s, right? So naturally, a couple of us go down, and it was, I don't really remember the day, but the grown-ups enjoy it more than the kids. You see all these balloons coming down. I can remember Goofy comes down, and they walk in the parade, and there was Goofy there, but I can remember what started the parade. I'll never forget it. It was, and they look like fairies, all dressed up with glitter in different colors and all this like sparkly glitter coming out of their heads. And the first one, it said right on it, the fairy band, right? The fairy band. And I'll never forget it. So here we're all down there drinking naturally, like everyone else. All of a sudden, this guy, like to my right, in the crowd somewhere, he says, "Oh, San Francisco's entrance in the parade." I thought it was funny. The fairy band, got it? San Francisco, all right. I didn't know if you did, but I thought it was kind of funny. Anyway, so there you have it. So much for that. There you have it, everyone. If anybody wants to join in, you can get a hold of us at 603-640-3091. If you have any questions for how to become a fantastic artist, this is the guy you want to call in and ask a question about that. No cards today because it's Thanksgiving, so they want to rest. But I do have 2 little trusty quartz crystal balls, if anybody has that. So, Anthony, what's the latest going on with you?
Oh, not much. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy Thanksgiving, be with some friends, and later hopefully get back into the art, see what I can do through the winter, get ready for spring.
So
I've got a painting in the health department now, and I also have a painting and downtown on Chestnut Street at Grace Bar's studio. I have one there and one in the health department.
No, when you say you have one in the health department, what, on
It's
display?
hanging on the wall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't certain.
Yeah, I got Artist of the Month. And
good.
And,
Oh, congratulations. Fantastic. Good for you.
Yeah, you get to take your work, and it might be a bank. They pick 7 a month, and you may be in a bank, you may be in a jewelry store, you may be anywhere.
Nice. Yeah, but that's
So,
cool. You're
yeah.
being recognized, so
Right.
that's pretty cool. You know, I think that's real nice.
Right.
So now, when you say winter's coming up, so you get ready for what?
Get
You
ready to paint. Things slow down. At least they do for me.
So is it sort of less
Well, hopefully,
inspirational? The weather less
Yeah.
motivating?
hopefully it'll be less stressful. I'm still going through some stressful things right now.
Uh-huh.
But
But I mean, in the winter, is it sort of in
Well, things-
general? Is it less sort of?
things slow down, and just, when I'm in the mood, I'll know it. And then I won't want to stop once I start.
So are you less in the mood during the winter then to sort of
No,
create?
when I get in the mood, I get in the mood. But during the winter, it just seems like there's more time. Things slow down, like I say, and
Uh-huh.
it gives you time to do them. So hopefully it'll work out.
Nice. And do you have anything lined up for murals next year?
Not yet. I had
Huh.
one, and I wasn't getting any input from the person, so I just dropped them.
Did you? Well, couldn't you just say, well, if you're not getting any input, as long as he's paying you, hey, then just.
No, there's a lot to that. So
Oh, see, I don't know.
yeah, if you don't have any input, there's no need of doing it.
So, why? Well, I suppose, I guess it's, tell me if this is a good comparison. Maybe it isn't, but it's like me when I give we'll say a tarot reading, or, crystal ball sort of different, but a tarot reading, if they sort of don't ask a question, or if they don't sort of maybe give me a little hint about what it is they might be wanting to hear, you know what I mean? Then don't get me wrong, I can give them a reading, but it might not relate to what they have in mind.
Yeah.
So.
It's like with a mural. You don't want to start a mural with very little input from the person that wants the mural. If you do that, then you can find yourself in a position where you put in a lot of hours on something, and all of a sudden they'll say, "Oh, I don't like that."
Yeah.
Yeah, I either have the input where it's a 50-50 give and take situation, or I just don't do them. So that's the end of it. I gave him every chance to come across,
Uh-huh.
and he was the one that expressed that he wanted the mural, but he's not going to get one from me.
So do they sort of like give you input on colors and stuff, or they?
Most people do. When
Do they?
people
Yeah.
tell me that they want a mural, it's got to be input. I mean, okay, you want a mural of what?
Mm,
How big? Where's the space? What's the substrate? You have all kinds of questions, and then you come to an agreement. You get a deposit, and then you start the mural. I've been working the last 3 years with Shou Chang, and he's been nothing but a gentleman. He'll give you input. It's like last summer, I decided I wanted to work with Debbie Curtin, who I've known for 15 years. She's another artist. So her and I met way back in 2006. And the mural is on a building on Pine Street, and it's all about Africa. And Shou told me, "Anthony, I want you to paint a cheetah that's leaping through the air at top speed, because they're 70 plus mile an hour. They're the fastest land mammal on the planet."
mm.
And he says, "But I don't want any violence. I don't want the cheetah chasing any baby animals."
That sounds good to me. I know.
So you have to, you need the input. Without the input, what mural? What do you want? And when you get like that, it's very frustrating. So that's it. And I just disconnected. Now, there's no need of wasting my time. And if they don't have an idea, I'm afraid that this person, well, he's going to run in, if he wants a mural from somebody else or some other group, he's going to run into the same problem. And you get to know people pretty well, because when you work with people like I do, and I've been doing that for 30 plus years,
Yeah.
you get to the point where you either get what you want or there's no deal. You know, if people can't say, okay, I want a mural, and you sit down and you talk about it,
Yeah.
and you toss ideas, and
Yeah.
then you come up with some sketches, you show them the sketches, and, you know, boom. I very seldom have had a problem doing murals, because people, if they approach you, that means they definitely want a mural. And when you sit and talk with them, it opens up what's on their mind, what they would like to see.
Yeah.
And then you, like I say, you work together on it. And once you come to a conclusion, okay, this is it, then that's a verbal agreement. And then you sit down and you sketch, you put some color to it, and you pretty well get to know the person, so you feel comfortable, you feel relaxed.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do when people just don't communicate. It was very frustrating, you know, and I gave them enough time to come back with, okay, I want this, or can you include this? I didn't get any of that, so
Wow.
I had to just discontinue.
So let me ask you this, just because I'm curious of how much info you might need. But could I call you up and say, Anthony, I'd like a mural on my living room wall, and then if you say, well, what kind of mural would you want? Could I say, like, well, if you could visit, because I want it to blend with the scenery out the window, if you know what I mean, because I'm in the woods.
Yeah.
Would that be enough?
Yeah.
Oh.
As long as you sit down and with the artist.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's very, very frustrating if you don't have the input, because, well, like last year, Deb and I stand on, she's 67, I'm 73. You're there 6 to 7 hour days.
Yeah.
On your feet. There's in alleys most of the time, and there's no place to really sit down unless you want to walk a block and a half and sit on your car. So everybody has to be on the same page, and if they're not, it's not worth it. I won't waste my time. I don't care about the money involved. That's the end of it. I didn't want to let this person go. But after a while, you get to the point, if they're not answering your emails, that's their way of saying, forget it. So,
yeah.
And even if they still want it, they're going to run into the same situation where the artist is going to say, okay, we need to sit down. But that's it. Even if he called me on the phone and said, I don't want to deal with him, that's the end of it. Bye-bye.
That is.
Yeah.
You're the boss, well, you know.
You have to be.
Yeah.
You know, I'm the one that's doing it, and you know, you have a professional attitude. Like when Deb and I work on this mural, that thing it's got to be, gosh, well over, pretty close to 30 feet. And she worked one side of the building, I worked the other. And he just opened the doors and said, okay, one thing I want an elephant, and I want a cheetah.
Oh, excuse me.
And a couple birds. Everything friendly, everything relating to Africa. Because most of the people that live in that building are from Africa. You know.
Yeah.
And it's no more than right. So what we did was we had some of the children that lived in the building work with us.
Oh, wow.
They actually painted, and it makes them feel worthy, and it makes them feel good about themselves, you know. And Deb and I have done that before. We learned that years ago, and it helps cut down graffiti. If you have artists that come in and they want to work with children, that's fine. I had Pat Long, my alderman, on my show, the last show I had, and we talked about murals and the art commission, and we just came to the conclusion that, and I did years ago, you get children get their parents' permission, and you're working on a mural. Instead of those kids coming back at night and destroying it, if you let them work on that mural, they're going to guard it, because they're going to get their friends and say, I did that,
Yeah.
I did this, and it works. It works. So it's a good positive thing.
It is, but of course, and I'm all for doing stuff for kids. I think stuff like that, what a sort of confidence booster for them.
Oh, sure.
You know,
I mean, as long as, well, I was the art director for Eagle Eyes for 12 years.
What's Eagle Eyes?
Eagle Eyes was when Michael Briggs was shot and killed in Manchester. Cheryl Mitchell lived on Lake Avenue, and she found him in her backyard.
Ugh.
And so she started Eagle Eyes, where everybody in that part of the neighborhood, right on Lake Ave,
Yeah.
right next to Litchfield Lane, they got to know each other. She would hold Christmas parties for everybody, was invited,
Yeah.
so that you're not living next door to someone, but you'd never speak to them because you've never been introduced. So you treat them as, quote, neighbors.
Yeah.
She said, okay, we're going to work it this way. We're going to have people come and meet, greet each other, have parties together, and we're going to start a mural program. And it worked.
Nice.
We did Litchfield Lane. We ended up on Chronicles and
Nice.
public radio. And it was just a good feeling. That's where I met Debbie Curtin. And then Deb and I started working together on these murals. And we get along together. And like I say, we've known each other. So it worked out well.
Is she related to Jane Curtin?
No.
Oh.
No, it's good to doing public art. Like, I just learned that the Manchester Art Commission has $100,000 in their account, and hopefully that'll be used to get artists, local artists here in Manchester only, and do some artwork. I like to keep and put to work artists from Manchester instead of inviting everybody from Portsmouth and Plymouth and this and that.
Exactly, in Massachusetts.
Right. Have them live in Manchester, and there's more support for it.
Yeah.
I found out that a mural that I had on the corner of Elm and Mechanic, it was like 60 feet long, 10 feet high, and it was up there for 15 years.
Nice.
And I found out, it was right over here on the corner, and it got painted over, and I was kind of shocked. And when I had Pat on my show, he told me that it was for the Bosnians when they went through their bad time with wars and pretty much what's going on in the Middle East now.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel so bad because it was up for 15 years. That's long enough. But what they have up there now is a tribute to the Bosnian independence. So it works out. It works out. Because I've still got over 20 murals around in this city, or some art here and there.
Do you have a favorite mural?
A mural that I did, this brings back memories, that I did for AmCam way back in 2006. I think was one of my murals that I really, it was a lot of hard work, but it was a mural that kind of put me on the map, so to speak. And the mural that I have at St. Joe's School of Nursing in Nashua I did in 1995, they put a glass case over it, so I'm hoping it's still there, but that was a good mural too.
Nice.
I have several. I have some in the alley at Central Street. I have another one behind the church there on Cedar Street. And I've got them over the
Yep.
city.
And by the way, I know you mentioned Cat Alley before, and I didn't know where it was. But just it was just recently. It might have been when Godsmack was at the arena because I parked up here. But I was walking back to my car at night, and I just happened to look across Elm Street, and I seen the little sign, Cat Alley.
Yeah.
And I go, boy, that is an alley. That's skinny.
Yeah, it's.
Is anything on it?
Oh yeah.
Is that? Wow.
Next time you get a chance, look at it. That was last year, and I put that together. Not the one they have up now, but the one that was up there since. Oh gosh, I'm going to say 2015 maybe.
Uh-huh.
And I was on the art commission, my second mayor, and it was pretty much handed to me. I don't know why, maybe because I was the new member. But I had to put a mural together in Cat Alley,
Yeah.
and it had a history of a big male cat that kind of ruled that alley.
Oh.
And it became famous because of this cat. But
That's probably a true story.
yeah, oh, it is. It's a true story. And then next thing I know, they gave me all the paperwork, the list of artists to contact, and I had a good time. So I put it together, and it wasn't the easiest thing to do, but it's one of the best things that I've done in Manchester, because there were so many artists fighting and arguing on. They stole my design, and so I had to kind of sit down with each of them and talk with them and get them to take a space. And there was a bag lady that showed up every morning, and for some reason she wouldn't tell me where she was sleeping. I felt sorry for her because her age and sleeping outside was ridiculous to me, but she'd come in, and the work that she did was beautiful. Yeah, I remember that. There was a big write-up in the Hippo and a couple other places, but I really enjoyed doing it, and all the artists just worked right out just fine, and the fighting stopped, and the bitterness and whatever.
That's good.
So we finally got it together, and then last year I got in a little late. They liked my design, but they said, well, we're going to put you on a list of artists that are going to be called in case one artist or two can't show up. So I went ahead and I did that. And then I didn't get called because all the artists showed up. Some of them were like Emily Drulin. She's a really good artist. She was on there in 2015, and she did a great job. She's an artist illustrator, but I was really impressed with a lot of that. You meet so many interesting people, and the thing is, it went for years without somebody putting a little touch to it and trying to destroy it, and it was protected. So now they're talking, we'll see what happens next year, because they want to continue it on the other building on the other side. So hopefully I'll have something together and see if I can get posted. You get paid for it, and it'll be part of the art commission money. And I'm $100,000. When I was on the art commission, I was on for under 3 different mayors. Hell, we used to get $20,000 a year if we were lucky. And when Pat said $100,000, I go, oh my gosh! You imagine what could be done with that, because there's so much that could be done. Like I said before and on my show, there's artists in Manchester that are really talented. They're really,
right here,
very talented, and they just seem to come together once in a while, and I'd like to see it happen again and get something done. I'm sure it's going to happen. The $100,000, I mean, wow, that's a lot of money. I was telling Pat we were worried about the $20,000, but hopefully it'll be used in a good, solid way, and people will come together and we'll get something done.
when I lived in Lowell, it's funny. It was one of the mill buildings I lived in. They had a big courtyard, and they had, we'll say, like a trailer that they used to storage or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it started out, an artist maybe started with I'm gonna say a 4x4 or a 6x6 mural type thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was the funniest thing, and different artists would come and they would sort of add, you know what I mean? Some would only do a little patch, others would do, well, I always remember, the thing I liked it because it was colorful and, it had all kinds of different stuff. And then I remember this one guy came one day, and I'm watching him, and he wrecked the whole thing. All he did was, and I remember it was like up in the upper right-hand corner, and practically the whole thing was done. And to me, I guess I didn't like it because all it was to me was, all it did is look like spokes from a wheel, and they were black. And this one big sort of like black arch that came out that, and I thought it wrecked the whole thing, you know what I mean? I said, oh, why he went over other people's work with that crap? I go, they're lucky. He's probably lucky nobody knew who did it, or they'd be choking him.
Like if you're working with, say, 4 or 5 other artists, and the mural even has a main theme, say patriotism or anything that you can all have a get together.
Yeah.
And you divide that mural into 5 sections, all dealing with the same idea.
Yeah.
Instead of one continuous mural, you can divide it into sections so that artist will have their rendition versus the other artists with their rendition, because not all artists paint the same. Not all artists treat the colors the same. There's going to be diversity, which is good. But when you're under a common theme, it's easier if you have 3, 4 artists to have 3 or 4 sections, but yet those 3 or 4 sections all connect. It's easier that way. That way you don't argue about, okay, the blue should be a little this or a little that. It's one of those deals where you are in your own section, and you do the best you can. And it works out. Communication when you're doing that is the most important thing. If you're going in there with a big ego or this or that, forget it. Forget it. Now, that's why I like working with Deb. Deb and I rub each other sometimes because I was painting a lake, and she thought my blue was too something or other. So I said, okay, you want to play that game? And so I ended up playing with the color blue, because what had happened was that the lake I was doing was in her panel, and I was coming around the corner. So I said, okay, Deb, you just go ahead and paint it the blue that you want. So she got the blue, and everybody was happy. But that's when you know you need your own sections. But there's no bitterness there. I mean, her choice and use of colors is different than mine.
But didn't you feel like a little confrontational, like, hey, come on, it's my section, this is my blue? No?
No, you got to kind of let that go. It worked out, but no to argue and get all uptight about it.
I would have been saying stuff under my breath.
Well, I joked about it. We still joke about it. But it all worked out. Her use of color, I say, is a little different than mine. But she knows what she's doing. She's a good artist, and I trust her. That's why I like working with artists that know what they're doing and do their best to make everybody happy, because that's what it's there for. And the person we work for, Sho Chang, he'll come around, he'll take one look at it, and That's it. He'll give you the thumbs up. He has never really said, "Oh, I don't like this." He'll tell you, "I don't want this," or "I
Yeah.
don't want that." Like at first, I think he wanted me to paint a lion, but he didn't want me to paint a lion, bringing down some animal to eat.
Really, I know.
And, the violence and nature's can be pretty violent, but it works out. And it feels good to be able to walk away from something and know that everybody's going to be happy. And that's the whole point of working in the public when you're doing a mural. I learned that a long time ago. It's not just for you, it's for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody needs to enjoy it. So if you're going to put something up there provocative or something that's deflammatory or whatever, there's no need of doing that. That's, don't be involved in hate this, love that kind of thing. Like nature. Almost everybody I know loves nature. I mean, I haven't heard too many people say, "Oh, I hate flies and flowers and trees and dogs and cats."
I love all that stuff.
Yeah, it's all part of the world we live in, and to capture it is awesome. Whether you do it with photography or you do it with a brush, but I love it. I hope that next year, this coming summer and spring, or summer, we'll be called back and do something. Last year was just too hot, way too hot. I don't know how James Chase did that big mural downtown. It's beautiful. It's on a parking garage. All of it's spray paint. Must be a fortune in paint.
Do you ever use spray paint?
Oh, I've spray painted, but it was when I was spray painting barns and houses and things. I don't do my murals with spray paint. I thought about it, and then I looked at the cost of it, and I go, nope, don't think so. But, he evidently got some money. But it's on a parking garage right on Hanover Street. I mean, it's beautiful work that he did. And you can't really put a price on it. But
did he do the one that says Manchester?
Yeah.
That is nice.
Yeah.
That is nice.
And I
Catches your
sat there
eye.
and talked to him for about a half hour one day, and he said, the wind's killing me.
Huh.
So without it, he didn't bring any brushes or paint. It's all spray paint.
Wow.
So if he doesn't have any other paint, he's got to go home. Because you've got to have, when you're spraying outside like that, you've got to realize that the wind's going to take some of it, and it could carry it for blocks and might get on somebody's car.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want it to do that.
No, because if it was my car, then I'd want to choke you.
Yeah, but then I just spray paint you, and you're going to But James did a good job. He's teaching, and the French building that everybody was worried was going to be sold. It's not going to be sold. It's going to stay in Manchester, and James will be one of the teachers that will be teaching there. And I think one of the big projects is children, and that's very, very important. I've got a painting that I want to show here and tribute to an artist friend of mine who was 95 years old when he passed, and he painted up until he couldn't paint no more. But for an artist to paint in their 90s like that, I thought it was fantastic. And we're going to take his paintings, and I'm going to donate them to the Bedford Crafters Guild, who I'm a member. And all the paintings, when they're sold in the spring and summer, are going to go for a scholarship for all children.
Nice.
And all the paint and equipment that Frank had there's tons of it, literally. We have to rent a U-Haul truck. And he told me, he says, you can take it all yourself or give it away. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have some other artists come by. We're going to go down in the basement and put all the paintings and things together, and then we're going to have a scholarship drive.
Well, is this the one you brought some?
Yeah.
Is this one of his paintings?
This is Frank's
That's
painting.
fantastic. Look at it.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's got glass on it, so I'm going to hope that we can have a close-up of this. This is,
I love that.
yeah, this is one of Frank. This is a watercolor, and this is my tribute to Frank. He obviously loved to paint, and he used to tell me, you've got to stop taking so much time with detail. So I used to say, but I can't help it, Frank.
Right.
That's the way I paint.
That's just style, yeah.
And he was a good influence on me. He was just a great teacher. He taught at the senior center. He taught at the VA. He taught private lessons to people. But he was a watercolor master. In fact, he's got a big painting. That thing must be at least a 30 by 20 painting in the Bedford Library that's been there for quite a while. It's one of his early watercolors, good size. But I remember him, he always used to say, stop doing so much detail. You don't need to get caught up. But I told him, I said, Frank, it's just a habit I have. Like, I can loosen up, they call it. But when I'm doing something that I'm going to spend some time with, I like to put detail in. It's just me. But I mainly work in acrylics, and I do work in watercolors and gouache. And eventually I'm going to get back into watercolor oils. People say there's no such thing, and I said that at first, but there are water-based oils.
Wow, there you have it.
So I'll get back into that. I just want to have a nice winter. The older I get, the colder I get. So I'm thinking about just staying inside and painting and see what I can come up, because I've got paintings that I've got to finish instead of just talking about it. But
I'm waiting for RoboCop.
Yeah, it's going to happen. It's just when you do paint, you can ask any artist. You've got to really be, quote, in the mood.
Mm-hmm.
And like with me, I got on a run, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago. I didn't stop for a week or so. Every night I worked on something small just to keep working.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to be doing. I got called back to stay with the senior center, William Cashin. And instead of doing it every week, I'll be doing it 2 weeks a month. The first and third Friday of every month, we'll be doing acrylics, and I sneak watercolor in there too sometimes. But I've been there like 7, 8 years now, and this is what I'm going to do. In the winter, things start to slow down because people take trips to Florida, stay down there for a couple months, and then come back up here for the spring. But I'm going to keep going, and hopefully I'll have a couple of the students come on my show like I do every year. And I really appreciate what they've allowed me to do at the Senior Center. And I'm hoping that it works out. Because when you get as old as some of these people are 78 plus years old, and they'll tell me I've been waiting 50 years to do this, and because they have grandkids and they're busy. But hopefully more people will take into consideration that don't worry about becoming a master painter or Da Vinci or any of those people. Just think, picking up a brush, get an idea, look at a photograph for influence, and just paint your heart out. And there you have it. You know?
Your heart's desire.
Right.
Which is always good.
Yeah. Don't worry about getting rich and famous and
right.
all that. That's whatever.
that's, I know some people like this, that's what they want to get. They want to be the next, what's her name? Long Island medium, It's
Yeah.
like, I do it because I enjoy it. I'm not doing it to make a killing.
No.
And, plus, I mean, when I do readings, a lot of times, if they're in person, I just do them for donations. So,
Yeah.
even if they, of course, some people, if you don't tell them what they want to hear, then you're reading, what you don't know what you're doing, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah.
Mm-hmm.
I go, I know, you're upset because
Want that back there?
is there any left?
No.
No, then I don't want it back.
All right.
Anyway, we don't have much time left, so before we get out of here, I want to wish everyone a nice, enjoyable, feasting, turkey-filled Thanksgiving Day for you. A wonderful Thanksgiving to the Energy Lady, Cruising with Mary, my wonderful guest, my favorite girl from Medford, Gina, Mr. Whoopi, whoever else. Anyway, there you have it. We don't have a lot of time left. Again, you want to tell them quick who you are?
Oh, they
So
know.
no, no. I know.
I just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you in another week.
There you have it. And remember, please. Oh, first, if anybody free, because mediumship, I want practice. 603-404-9338. Gratis for the reading. Anyway, there you have it. Please, always, two things we always have to remember. One, you can't be dumb if you want to be free. And more importantly, you are a winner.